Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
So, no?
Yes.
Yes, oh, good. Good. So, every year, February 5th, there's a celebration of the passing of Hazrat Inayat Khan. In Sufi terms, we call it an urs, which means, literally it means wedding procession. The whole idea is that as a being whose heart is open leaves the physical body, then there's an opportunity for them to be wider and more beneficial and more helpful in a wide area. So it's that kind of sense. And this year, the Ruhaniat was invited, or had the privilege of being the host of the celebrations in India. And we made it a 3-day music festival, teachings together, and so on. And in order to facilitate that and help it financially and get me there and so on, we took a group with us, and so we had 55 pilgrims with us who had registered with us, who we housed and fed. And then we had 10 days together going on outings, but the middle 3 days, all of us together were the host of the Urs celebration. And we had a really lovely time. Just a deep time. And I'm still getting letters every day from people, saying, I miss the group. And Miles just came in because he's taking a break from studying for his finals and his brother Noah, his twin brother Noah, was with us. And Bettina, another young, beautiful Sufi woman, and Trisha from Hawaii, young, and Katinka from Germany, another young person, and Emmanuel, Atum O'Kane's son was with us. He was in the group. Those of you who know Atum, his son Emmanuel was with us, and so we had a great group of young people. Someone came from Brazil, someone from Morocco, 3 people from Ecuador, 4 people from Alaska, Holland, Germany, France, and Canada and U.S. So it was a really sweet group. So I didn't put music to the slideshow, but there's places in the slideshow that what's happening there is musical. So this is the this is the hotel, the main hotel where we stayed in. Remember I was telling the story about my Tibetan teacher staying at the same hotel. This is where it was. But they just remodeled it. They took 2 years to remodel it. So now it's like a boutique hotel. Very, very fancy. And we didn't all fit in there, so some of us stayed there. Most, 2/3 of us stayed there, and then another smaller group stayed in a next-door neighbor hotel. And this is just before they put up the tents. We had on the back side, there's a roof, and that's where our classroom was. They built a classroom, and here you'll see now, let's see. Come on. It's all the same thing.
Yes.
Okay, so this is, in the back you can see is a dining, they now have a restaurant, whoopsie. But then they're preparing to put up the covers, you see, to make eating place for 60. And then this is the roof, as they're making the room for the roof. And then, this is just if you walk in Delhi, everywhere you see these Delhi eagles. There are thousands of them. And this is, those of you who've been there, this is the street that connects Nizamuddin's tomb to Inayat's tomb, and one of my murids is getting married that night, Indian murid. And so he lives in this neighborhood, he's from the neighborhood. So the whole neighborhood's all, kind of decked out for the wedding. Here we are ahead of, before the Ur starts, making preparations, and this is Inayat's tomb. And there's Bettina or Jenny right next to me, and we're just, checking in, Bodhi and Layla. Here's my murid riding in on a horse that evening. Not that I wanted to go to anything in the evening after flying for 36 hours and reading the opposite time, but that was what was called for. So, he's riding on his horse, and here I am next to him. His father's to my left, so imagine I'm right next to him while he has to sign the contract. It's a kind of you have to sign contracts, that's what it means, the marriage ceremony. Here's what, now I come back to the hotel, now the room is pretty much ready. That's what it's going to look like. And then here we are. There's Halima on the right, Halima and Abraham. My wife in the middle back, people you would recognize. Rashid on the left here, he's from Germany. He and his wife and daughter were there. This is the kitchen, where they made us the food. The hotel owner on the right, she was there to make sure the first day the food was great. And here we are. So you can see now, if you look back out through the little restaurant, and how you see how the tent goes all the way out. So there's chairs all the way out there and tables for us to eat. Okay, so now we go on our first outing, and the first place we go to is Nizamuddin Aliyah. After we pay our respects to the saints, both Hazrat Amir Khusro and Hazrat Nizamuddin Aliyah, we sit down and try to be respectful when we start singing. And I think here's and we start singing, and then there's always thousands of pilgrims there, and they're so moved by the singing they start coming to us, and whoops. There's Abraham, you see Abraham and Halima. Al is there from Scotland. Yakin. We're like a flash mob wherever we go. You can hear the eagles in the background. He's filming, that's why I'm doing this. There's what it looks like. That is the shrine of Nizamuddin. I threw this in. This is a picture from 15, 20 years earlier. Like, if you look, there's Jalela right next to me. I'm in the black jacket. Those of you know Jalela. Ziemba? Yeah, there she is, so. Then, oh, I see. So that's the shrine of Hazrat Nizamuddin Aliyah, very close proximity to Inayat Khan's tomb in our Chishti lineage. And oftentimes there's, God-intoxicated people there, Madzub, Inayat calls them. Well, one of them shows up in the video, I think, in this video, if I remember correctly. It might have been the other one, so I'm not sure. No, it's in this video, if you wait. Is it loud enough? Can you hear it?
It's hard to hear you. They can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm yelling. Oh yeah, there's the Matzub in the back. See him there? Pretty soon, watch this. That's got to be doing something, don't you think?
Spreading the blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So now we walk through the lanes. You know, we're taking people. This is our first day through the lanes to go to Inayat Khan's tomb. Here we are in Inayat's tomb. And then naturally we're going to sing there too. There's Layla next to me. Again, Noah's. There's Zahir, for those of you who know Zahir. You know, Waduda, with her back to us. So okay, here's what the classroom, you know, looked like, you know, once we got it all decked out. And so we'd have raga class in the morning, and then we'd have dances, and then Layla would have a chat, and then we'd talk about the day's outing and so on, and could then go have a late breakfast, like a brunch, and that's how our day continued. Then this is, so our hotel's in the background, so I don't know if you get a sense of what 60 people means going, you know, walking places, but you can see that line stretches all the way from the hotel to where we are. I mean, it's quite a lot of fun. And then here we are. So now this is our second day outing, and we plan to go first to what's called the Kanka, you know, the ashram, if you want those names, of Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia, where he and his students actually lived, because he didn't live at his tomb, he lived at his Kanka. and there's also a place there called his Chilla, where he did practice, his retreat place. And so we go there first, and then from there we're going to go to Humayun's tomb. So here we are. This is just, if you go everywhere in Delhi, you know, miles and miles and miles of this kind of wall from the 13th century, you know. Everywhere you look, there's so much beauty of architecture, you know, of harmony and symmetry from the Mughal architecture, which is a period of one of the pinnacles, I think, of architectural beauty and harmony. So, you know, as you're walking, there's a little eagle's nest. So we're at the Kanka and Chilla of Hazrat Khwaja Sayyid Nizamuddin Aulia. And we get there, and, you know, not in India, everything doesn't always open its arms to you. Sometimes the arms close, you know. But in this case, we go there, we're welcomed by the dervishes who are there. We sit down at the place where Nizamuddin gave his teachings and was with everyone. We start chanting, a couple of dervishes come and join us, and then another kind of madzub, he starts chanting, he's giving blessings to everybody. He's in the picture too. So here we are sitting at the place where we're singing, where Nizamuddin gave his teachings, and here's the dervish shows up. You know, it's a picture of Amir Khusro and Nizamuddin, you know, a depiction. And I don't have a video of him, but he's chanting away and doing breathing practices, and you know, very happy for it to have us there. And we want to go into the Chilla, meaning into the it's not a cave, but I mean in this structure where he did his retreat. But, you know, it's got a padlock on it, and then again, that doesn't always open for you, but then we ask, could you open it? No, sorry, we'd have to go here and get permission, and we ask nicely, and open it when, you know. So here we are in there. We tried to squeeze 60 people into this teeny space. And this is, these are our friends from Ecuador. So we're in there. It's not a big space. Khadija. a tourist, not a tourist, you know, a pilgrim who's right in them, who was so moved by being, he comes in with us and he's in there and, you know, someone stays and does salat with him afterwards. He's going, you know, like, I'm in paradise. He was so moved by what was going on. And we had such a good, you know, sweet time. More. Come on. Okay, so this is Humayun's tomb, and I've probably taken this picture 20 times, you know, because every time I go, I try to take that picture where you're coming in the gate and then it's framed, and they've been working on it actually, because that where the blue tile is now on those little minaret things. Yeah. Okay, so this is one of the Mughal kings, Humayun. So this is obviously the precursor to the Taj Mahal. So he was prior to Shah Jahan. But also when I take people there, there's a Sufi saint who was the son of Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan, you know, is the Mughal emperor who built the Taj Mahal for his wife and, you know, for beauty's sake. And his eldest son was named Dara Shikoh, and he was a Sufi, murid, a brilliant scholar. He wrote books on Sufism, on Vedanta, you know, on Advaita, and he was slated to be like an enlightened ruler of Delhi, of India, you know, as a Mughal, the next Mughal king. But his younger brother, Shah Jahan's next son, his name was Aurangzeb, murdered his brother, Dara Shikoh, and put his father in prison, you know, so he was imprisoned at the Taj Mahal. And that's supposed to be the beginning of the fall of the Mughal Empire, his Aurangzeb's reign. But the myth or the story is that Dara Shikoh is buried in an unmarked grave in this compound. And there's many, many beautiful structures in the compound of this building.
So Dara Shikoh was the murderer?
Dara Shikoh, no, was the saint. There was the son who was slated, he was the eldest son slated to be the next Mughal king. His brother Aurangzeb was the not so nice guy. Okay, so this is Humayun's tomb. It's enormous. It's 10 minutes walk from our hotel. You know, I mean, it's right there. You know, another view of it from afar. Here's Basira, you know. So when we were there, we all played dress up, you know, Indian dress up, which was a lot of fun and very colorful. And it's interesting because you can see there are people, Indian people, who dress up too, but mostly the Indian people are dressed up like us, and we're dressed up like them. You know, so that's you know, an Indian kurta that's long, and yeah. So
a little bit like a Bollywood movie.
and so this, I put this in too. So this is from 20 years ago. That's my music guru walking next to me, and there's Jalela, you know her. There's Tamam in this picture. Yeah, there's Tamam and my music guru. That's this is kind of humorous. You know, now that it's a public, you know, it's run by the government and kept very clean, and so you pay an entry fee. This is all new. This is new. But then there's a guard in there, and you're not supposed to sing in there. I mean, he has a rule, and so we're singing, and the guard is like coming to me. You're not supposed to sing. You're not supposed to sing. And I'm smiling. So you know, we sang quite a lot. So he lets us get to the end of Sri Ram. You'll see here. think I mentioned the Hope Project yesterday, didn't I? Yeah, so it's a phenomenal thing. It's really phenomenal. Now they have mobile medical trucks where they take a mobile clinic to different poor neighborhoods. They've set up mobile clinics in Kashmir. They just bought a piece of land in Rajasthan to have open space so that these poor kids who've never had any experience of nature can have, like a summer camp experience, to go into nature and experience nature. And Zuleika, who many of you know, was one of my oldest friends, and she's there. And Samiur Rahman is the director of the whole project there, very wonderful and dedicated. And so we're discussing with him, you don't have a proper music program. I mean, a real proper, a professor of music teaching music to these kids. How much would that cost for a year? He says $6,000. So he comes over to the hotel, to our group of 60 people. We raised the money right there. I had money from the program, so I put in 1,000, and we had enough money. So that group, or we, the Ruhaniat, now have supported the music teacher for the first year. So if you get a note saying want to contribute, then you'll know what it's for, like that. So so now that was February 2nd. Now February 3rd is the beginning of the Urs celebrations. It's 10 a.m. I'm giving the opening remarks, which nobody recorded, so I can't give you a little taste of it. But I make opening remarks. Pir-O-Murshid makes opening remarks. Murshida Layla makes opening remarks, and Murshid Nawab from Sufi movement. Okay, and then we start going to, here's Pir-O-Murshid making his opening remarks. Here's what Inayat's tomb looks like. They get it all dressed up for the Urs, with the flowers. That's not every day like that. And so then we start our music concerts, and all the musicians that played for us, I think we had 4 or 5 concerts, were in their 20s. And they're actually all from I'm in a music lineage in India. I've been studying 40-some years. And so I was able to get to artists in my lineage. But I wanted to give the youth a chance, but also show that the lineage is very alive and going forward. Because I know, 25, 30 years when we started going there, it wasn't so true. You looked and you thought, I hope this is going to, go on to the next generation. And now it's really treasured. Indian music, again, is a treasure. For a while it was, and so the first concert was the young man standing next to me. He's the elder brother. Then later, the next day, was a concert by the younger brother, who's second from the left. I have recordings of all of it. We'll post them soon. So if you look, you watch the kind of Ruhaniat newsletter, you'll connect with all the recordings and some videos. But I don't have videos of these concerts. So here are the 2 brothers. This is one of the Qadims from Ajmer. He resides at Ajmer at Moinuddin Chishti's tomb, and so he comes up every time. And so if people want to go down to Moinuddin Chishti's tomb and get taken care of, that's his job.
How far would that be?
4 or 5 hours. So there's a Delhi eagle. I mean, look at that. They're all over. They squawk, 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 squawk. Wherever you are, birds are. Delhi is a heaven of birds.
They're protected.
Huh?
They're protected.
Protected? They're the rulers.
Are they sacred in any way?
By me, I don't know. I'll have to take a survey. There's probably 25 million people live in Delhi. I'd have to take a survey. Yeah. Look at it. Wow. Or whatever. There's a lot of people. Oh, okay. So this is the first evening concert, February 3rd. It's a young sitar player, he's 20, and he's been invited because actually he's the fiancé of the young woman who I have sings, who I met when she was 3 years old and already knocked my socks off at age 3. And so,
Took your beans.
no, she was a beautiful singer, as a little girl, and so now she's become an accomplished singer, and she gave her first recital in Delhi at Inayat's tomb, and so he's the fiance, and they said, well, why don't you invite him too? So I did, and he knocked her. He's like Jimi Hendrix. He played slow and deep, and especially in Indian music, the best artist makes no show of themselves. They want the music to, want the raga to hold sway on them and everybody else. And he was the exemplar of that, even at 20. Very, very beautiful. So this is just a teeny section, and maybe not, you don't get to see all the beautiful sides of him, but. And the tabla players in his 20s too. Pir-O-Murshid gives a beautiful talk. We recorded it, so we have the audio. We weren't really set up there. We didn't have Ali with us. He didn't come, I don't know. Could have come with us next time. But in any case, we have audio of everything and just small little bits of video. So that's the concert hall. So, and then there's a room behind it so you can see from there too. And then Inayat Khan's tomb is on the right, so you can look through those windows, and it's all, during the Urs there's a sound system and engineers, so there's sound throughout, so you don't have to be right in front to get what's going on. And then for the last 3 years, this Afghani Chishti Pir has been coming. He's a Pir of the Chishtis in Herat from Afghanistan, Pir Ahmed Shah. So very traditional, and so very always lovely to have him there, And so this is the second day, and now Pir-O-Murshid gives a talk, and then all the local dignitaries, the Sufis who've come get a chance to share a few words. Then comes, this is our friend from Pakistan. She's a Sufi teacher there, and a lovely person, and her name's Naila. She's invited me to come teach in Pakistan anytime. So far, I haven't gotten the guidance to go. I'd love to go, but So then, late afternoon, it's part of the Ur ceremony has always been the opportunity for the children from the Hope Project to, like when you go to school, whatever that's called, not show and tell, but talent night for the kids, talent day. And you have to understand that these girls come from extraordinarily poor families who live in the neighborhood. Often they're called rag pickers because that's what they do for income. And it's completely against the culture for them to get educated. The typical rag picker's family culture. And so it's taken many, many years of social workers, medical clinic, sewing workshop for the women, computer workshop for the men, different kinds of support programs for them to appreciate and allow their daughters to become educated. And now many of the girls have gone all the way through 12 grades. There's another very amazing, this isn't shown here, but the Hope Project started a micro lending program for women, which is super successful because obviously people are responsible at that stage of their life. But the amazing, auspicious, unintended consequence was that it has become the #1 reason for the decline of violence against women, because nowadays women, are making a financial difference in the family mold. So you don't just abuse them, and so it's had a lot of really good effects. And then that's being copied in different places, and then it's all expanding. So here we go. Speaking English. I know you didn't know that.
I'd never guessed.
They're speaking English. They've learned, they're being trained. And Zuleika spends a lot of time, a couple months a year at the Hope Project. And even though here we know her as a dancer, she can't teach dance because that's haram, It's not right for the culture for the women to dance, but so she's teaching exercise, but she sneaks in how to become in your body, and music and so on.
You got that one.
There's Zuleika, for those of you who know her. Look how beautiful these women are, and hopeful. So you'll recognize this song, most of you. Okay, I'm going to go forward just because we don't have much time. So they sing Rabia's song. Okay, so then afternoon of the second day, February 4th, this is my Tibetan guru, Tai Situ Rinpoche. And he's come to give a talk to the whole group. There's my wife standing on my right and me behind. After his talk, we do have a recording of the whole talk, and then we have a movie of it. And then I don't have a film of his concert either, but it was spectacular. So that's
Is all this stuff on the website?
it will be, all of this will be on the website. It's not yet. We're still assembling.
The Ruhaniat website?
Yes, that's correct. It will be. You know, all the recordings. And then fifth morning, some of you know Sri Karunamayi. She's also a disciple of the same music guru that I am. She opened the Urs Day, you know, with some prayers. Not so much as a singer, but as a kind of a ma, you know, Karunamayi. And then so from here, we walk back to Nizamuddin's tomb with a new, it's called a chadar, which means shawl, but chadar also means tomb cover. And so it's ceremonial now to take a new tomb cover, put it on the tomb of Nizamuddin Aulia, the historical saint, for blessing, and then pick it up in the air, you know, and all carry it, just like a Jewish wedding, you know, where you've got a huppah, you know, you carry it up in the air through the lanes, and then put it on an Inayat Khan's tomb. You know, this is now the beginning of the next season. So here we are in the morning getting ready. Now here we are, here we are in Nizamuddin Aulia's, in the inside of his tomb, you know, where you saw us singing earlier. There, that gold cloth is the new chadar we had prepared. You know, there's Pir-O-Murshid right there, for those of you who know him. You know, there it is all folded up, you know, and here are there's my wife and Zuleika, Zakir Hussein's wife, Tony, who's a close friend, Pir-O-Murshid's wife, straight back, his daughter. We're next to them. Here we are, you know, reciting some Islamic prayers. And then the Qawwali lead us, they sing, and they walk backwards, so to say, you know, and sing Qawwali while we walk through the lanes, that same lane that I showed you with early on with the prettiness, you know. Here we are, you know, walking, carrying the shawl. Okay, I threw this in. Take a look. Okay, there's Pir Vilayat, right? And who's that young person to his right? That's Pir-O-Murshid. You know, age 12 or whatever he was at the time. You know, I've been there so many times, and then remember I said that Murshid Karim Baksh was arranging the Sufi conference in Istanbul. That's him on the right with the tie, you know, on the right-hand corner. And there we are. We've arrived at the tomb, making prayers, reciting the silsila. Then the Qawwali sing. So it's perfectly normal that Qawwali, you don't pay them, or you know, they don't get a fee for coming over to sing at the Urs, but the tradition is you just offer money. And the interesting tradition for the Urs locally is you wouldn't give one big bill, you'd probably give 100 small bills, you know, because you know, you draw it out and offering and offering and offering, and sometimes you'll put the money on the tomb of the saint, and then they come and take it, you know, like that. So, but it's a good day for them, you know, because there's a lot of us there, and you know, it's one of their good income days. But they're, you know, they sing for us beautifully. I'm going to move on. So then I get a chance to perform raga, and the man on the right in his 20s, he also had given a concert. He's a Sarangi master, Murad Ali Khan, brilliant player. And on the left is one of the finest tabla players in Delhi, Rafiuddin Sabri. So I think there's a little video in here. Let's see. There's my wife listening.
Dear friends, welcome. Welcome to this 87th anniversary of the passing of our beloved guide and friend, source of love, mouthpiece of the spirit of guidance. I thought I'd speak a few of his words to invite his atmosphere for the language of English. He says, I first believed without any hesitation in the existence of the soul, and then I wondered about the secret of its nature. I persevered and strove in search of the soul and found at last that I myself was the cover over my soul. I realized that in me which believed, and that in me which wondered, and that in me which persevered, and that which found, and that which was found at last, all no other than my soul. And I thanked the darkness that brought me to the light, and I valued the veil which prepared for me the vision in which I saw myself reflected, the vision produced in the mirror of my soul. Since then, I have seen all souls as my soul, and realized my soul as the soul of all, and what bewilderment it was when I realized that I alone was, and if there were anyone, that I am whatever and whoever exists, and that I shall be whoever there will be in the future, and there was no end to my happiness and my joy.
So then I proceed to give about a 40-minute concert.
Where did that come from, what you just read?
That's in one of the volumes.
Yeah. Can you pin it down? I'd love to see that.
Yeah. I have it on my iPad. You know, if you, I can email it to everybody if somebody has everybody's address. You know,
If you email it to Hakika, she can get it to everyone.
okay, so Hakika, you remind me and then I'll email it to you.
Thank
And then it'll say where it's from.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's from The Soul, Whence and Whither, in volume 1, toward the end of the, you know, the final chapter. Whatever, yeah, something. So I'm going to skip over this. I give a 40-minute concert. I'd love to have you hear it. And it will be posted on YouTube, so you will get to, if that's what your yearning is, you'll get to listen to it. But meanwhile, I'll go home. So then we had Khadija Goforth from Seattle, flew in and joined our group, and so she was the host of the, come on, go back. There we go. She was the host of the Universal Worship, and that's everybody she involved in it. You know, you can recognize Yakin, some of you, and there's Bodhi in the back, Abraham in the front. Aliella's from Moscow, in the bottom right, you know, playing the drum. Nawab from Norway, second, and the fourth from the right, Martina, she's 15, she's from Ecuador, so she was involved too. So it was very sweet, Universal Worship, did a great job. Brought the Ruhaniat, you know, kind of friendliness to it. Took the formality out of it. This is what the audience looked like. Then in the afternoon of the Urs, we have a audio recording of this concert. That's called the Rudra Veena, what Hazrat Mola Bakhsh played, you know, Inayat's grandfather. Well, it's supposed to be invented by Lord Shiva. And it's the original headphones, because typically you don't play it like he's playing it. You put it on your on your left shoulder, so it's like right up on your ear. And so that way it's not really a performance instrument as it is a kind of meditative instrument, because you can pluck the string and you can keep going like this and playing melodies without the sound projecting, but your ear is on this enormous headphone, the gourd. So he gave a beautiful concert. His name's Bahauddin Dagar, from a very traditional beankar family. This was great. The whole project over the years has developed a catering service. So we hired them, and this was the first time in the course that we fed people afternoon, night, every day. Usually they just served one meal, and then people would go out for meals, and so they'd miss part of the. So I wanted people to stay, and so we fed them, and also instead of having simple meals, like we said, no, beef them up, have too much food, don't skimp, be generous, so we had meals every day, and they did a nice job, and it was a great income for them, I hope, and it was wonderful for us. It's pretty cheap, by all standards. Okay, so this is the girl who was 3 when I first met her. Her father, he's sitting next to me. We're sitting over here. That's why the angle's like this, because I'm the one who's filming with my iPhone or something. And so his father and my guru were guru brothers of the same master teacher, Ustad Abdul Wahid Khan Chishti Sabri, who was the revivalist of this type of music, Indian classical vocal music. And all the people that we heard sing were his disciples. The man who's next to me, Mashkur Ali Khan. He himself was a great artist, but I didn't invite him. I invited only and she gave a spectacular concert. She's 20. You'll see like a teeny snippet, but you'll see it's like knocked our socks off. And this was the last concert of the Ur celebration. She was, we were all crying, still crying, So then we go back into the shrine and we close the whole 3-day festival with sitting, singing zikr. A lot of the zikrs we've sung, but just sitting. And there's Layla, there's Abraham, and the man on left, to my right or on our left, is Wali van der Swan. He's one of the sheikhs from, lives in Germany now, and Ecuador in the back, like that. And usually by now most of the people have gone home, but the shrine is filled with people, so it's still over 100 people left there to close the ceremony. This is the evening of the 5th, around 9 o'clock, 8:39.
Was Bodhi there too?
Yeah, Bodhi was there. He was there playing drum. There he is. See the drum there? That's his hand. You see it?
Recognize that thumb.
Yeah, that's him, yeah. He was there. And, okay, now it's the 6th of February. Now we're back to our own group. And now Rinpoche comes and gives a talk at our hotel. And that, our little Ruhaniat Tech Committee, I filmed that whole talk. It's over 2 hours, spectacular. It'll be on the web. It's not here right now, but it was fantastic. And you'll love it. If you have the patience to watch a video like that, it'll be up. It's his 60th birthday now. He's just turned 60. Here's our group. Obviously not everyone's there because we couldn't find Noah in here either. But most everybody. Yeah, he shows up somewhere. There's Khadija on the right, Basira on the left. The person down from my left, or on our right, she's from Brazil. A Marita of mine from Brazil. Then 2 over from her with the red headscarf, she's from Morocco, Salima. Someone.
Saladin in the back.
Saladin, no. You mean Pelfrey? No, he's not in.
There's Goose Goose.
There's Bodhi in the back, second from the top on the right. Where's Couscous?
Goose Goose.
Who?
Khadijah's dog.
Oh, he's not there. Okay. Okay, so this is the tomb. Now, so all of our outings were to there's 9 of the peers of our lineage buried in Delhi, in historical. So we went to all these places. That was kind of like the go to the lineage and put your head down. So this is Nasiruddin Shiragi Delhi. He's the successor to Nizamuddin Aulia. We sang there too. Here we are sitting and singing, and then his disciple is the next peer in the lineage. That's his shrine. Now this is a next day. This is for me a very important outing. There was a woman disciple of Baba Farid. Baba Farid was Wajamayoni Chisti Baba Farid, and her name was Fatima, Bibi Fatima, and she was in their senior circle, like our Murshid's council, And one of the other senior teachers in the council went to Baba Farid complaining, and said, "How could you have a woman in our circle?" And he said, he responded, "When the lion comes out of the jungle, you don't have time to ask it. It's a man or a woman." And this is historical. And so she became known as the Lioness of Delhi. And this is her shrine, and they fixed it up recently. And there's always supposed to be an abdal nearby. And so when we go there, I don't know if you see that only women in the picture, so I tell the men they have to go to the back of the line, and we're led in by the women. And when you go to a shrine in India, everybody puts their head down, so if you're the last one, it's like, it's a little while, So this was an outing really that, we walk over there, it's 7 minutes, 8 minutes from our place. Everything's close by, and so the women lead us in, lead the chanting. We're fully participating, but just as a way to turn the tables, if you like. Even though in the long run we don't want either man or woman, just human beings. But yeah. So this is the shrine of Bibi Fatima. There's Tamam leading some prayers. Okay, so this is you saw we had that meeting hall on the roof, made out of sheets. So that morning, it actually didn't rain, but there was a very heavy dew, and so the floor was totally soaking wet. So we had Raga class and then Leila's class in the, squeezed in the dining hall. The last outing we made was to the Jama Masjid, which is the biggest mosque, I think, in India. I mean, architectural harmony. It's just so, I mean, I could show you half an hour of pictures of that place alone, not in this slideshow, but and at the feet of Jama Masjid are the tombs of Sarmad and Hari Bari, his teacher. Sarmad, a Sufi saint, lived in Delhi at the time of Aurangzeb. And since Aurangzeb was such a bad character, the one I told you about, the Sufis challenged him a lot. And this saint was bold enough when it was Friday, Jummah, prayer time, and the king went in for prayer, Aurangzeb, and Sarmad called the guard over and said, "Your king is under my feet." So that's not a real wise thing to say about the king of Delhi, king of India, I mean. So when Aurangzeb came out, he was kind of angry, and he said, what's up? And so the saint, Sarmad, says, you were in there, you wanted some treasure because you want to do this project, and there's a treasure buried under my feet. That made him angrier, and so they brought the shovels and they dug, and sure enough, it was there. And so that made him, he was so angry now that he said to the Sarmad, "I want you to proclaim kalama." Kalama means La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. So then Sarmad says, "La ilaha illallah," and he stops. And the king says, "Finish." And he says, "No, after Allah, I'm finished." And he was so angry that the story says he chopped his head off. And the myth goes on that his head rolled down the stairs chanting the zikr. So after we visit this place, we go down to there, to his tomb and his teacher's tomb, sing there, and then we walk through a very crowded market, about 15 minutes to another saint in our lineage. So here you'll see the progression. So here we are, there's Abraham, this woman, her name is Claire. She's lived in Delhi for 25 years, with my wife. And she speaks the language, she knows the stories, she studied Qawwali, so she was a kind of, she came with us everywhere and just brought so much beauty and understanding. Look at the architecture, It's so beautiful. Now there's some of our young squad. That's Waduda's daughter, Robin. I don't think you know her. From Colorado, and Trisha, who's from Texas, really been living in Hawaii, on the left. Some of you know Patina in the middle. So that's Sarmad's tomb and his teacher's tomb, Hari Bari, his Pir. We're singing like we do. And now we're walking through the marketplace, just walking through, and we get to the shrine of the next saint. There's Bodhi, see? Oh yeah, there he is, yeah. Exactly. Meditate at these places and sit quietly and then sing. It wasn't just show up and flash mob. Okay, so here's the birds. They're doing their zikr. I like taking pictures of birds. So this is the last. It's called a Hazari when you go to the tomb of a saint. And we're on our way to Qutbuddin Bakhtiar Kakis. He's the second in the lineage after Khwaja Muinuddin Chishti. And there's a little Sufi tomb there. We're curious what it is, and we see these dervishes there, and so we go say hello, and they're pretty stoned. They've been using some musician's helper, as they call it. But they were very sweet. We did a little zikr, just a small group of us did a little zikr with them on our way. And now we're going to the tomb of Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti, Khwaja Qutbuddin Bakhtiar Kaki, the second in our lineage. A lot of poor people live there, you know, because that's natural, because you get fed at a Sufi shrine. There's his tomb. And Maulana Fakhruddin he's also buried there in our lineage, and two others from our lineage. That's his tomb. So 4 people now. So this is amazing. We're by the tombs of these 2 saints from our lineage, and this woman comes up. She's obviously Madzub, you know, God intoxicated, or whatever you call it. You know, she's obviously blind in one eye. And she comes up to me and the group of us, and she says, all your troubles will go away. And she gives me 5 rupees. So 5 rupees, that's like 5 coins, that's worth, it's 60 rupees to $1. So whatever that is, you know. Huh? 10 cents, yeah, or 8 cents, worth 8 cents. You know, she's a beggar, she's giving them to me, you know, and I had that happen to me once before in Morocco, where you know, kind of a Madzub gave me money, you know, someone had given him, you know, 5 cents worth of coins, and he went like this and this, and then he said, well, I don't need this money, and he gave me 2 of them back, you know. And she gave me the coins, and then, you know, I thought I want to give her some money, so I waited a while, you know, and I gave her 100 rupees. Okay, that sounds like a lot, but it's $2, you know, $1.65, but you know, but it has a lot of buying power for a, you know, homeless person or whatever you say. And we go through the shrines, and we see her, you know, 5 minutes later. Well, she's gone to the bookstore and bought me a book on Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti's life in Urdu, and she spent all the money. And then she says to me, give me some more money, I want some tea. So I buy her tea. You know. This is all in Urdu, not in English. See, there's the 5 rupees. You know.
Sounds like she sees money as a flow instead of a possession.
I don't think you can make sense of a Madzub. Whatever you like is fine. You know, just as it is. This is, we're on this outing. We go from Qutbuddin Bakhtiar Kaki's. Now this is the tomb of, we're walking through the jungle, and we come upon this, you know, there's a jungle area where it's, and now the Archaeological Society has started cleaning it up. First it's filthy, now it's clean. And everywhere you look is old ruins. And then this is the mosque by the tomb of a poet saint named Jamali Kamali, where I hadn't been for 20 years. And, you know, I had a very deep connection, especially my wife had a deep connection. So I was so excited to get there. And because we're on this search, we're trying to get to, there's a place where Baba Farid, the third in our lineage, hung upside, he did this practice of every day hanging upside down in a well and doing practice, riyazat practice. So that well still exists, and his chilla is there as well. And so we're on this, you know, kind of mission to get to these places. And so here we are at Jamali Kamali's tomb. And then right there, it's just right there, the Qutub Minar. I don't remember what, 9th century or 8th century, you know, the Ashok pillar from the 8th century is right there. You know, but, you know, just outside of the compound, it looks like, you know, it's garbage strewn everywhere. You know, that people don't take nice care of the land that way. But the Archaeological Society does. So now we get to the tomb, where this is the well of Baba Farid, where he hung upside down, so, you know, 8 centuries ago. Yes, there is. I took a picture down the well, and I couldn't, you know, it was like way down. But, you know, it's many, many centuries later, so we don't know what it looked like then. You know, I remember when we were in Damascus, and we went to a place where St. Paul had held Mass or something like that, and we had to walk down, you know, like a story or two to get, remember that? Yeah. And then we get to, here's his chilla, where he did practice. And so we go in there and we sit and sing. There's Yaqeen. We sit and meditate for a while. and the tomb of the saint, Shahabuddin, and now we're just going to close with some of the birds of Delhi. I mean, there's the eagle, and look at these guys. Oh, little parrots. And then we're just walking, to the right of our hotel is the zoo, the Delhi Zoo, built in all the archaeological ruins, and it's called Purana Kila. All these old buildings. It means old fort. Just, so this, whatever this is, looks a little like a stork, I don't know, heron. It's not a buzzard. No, it's definitely not a buzzard. No, they have tons of buzzards there, yeah, but definitely not a buzzard. And peacock, ringneck dove. You want to learn to share in this life. All right, I think that's it.